So I'm turning off my phone, so it's just us. So I remember things, and the things that I remember may still be happening, and that's a big problem. And the problem started for me in this, that all my life I've had problems with finding something to believe in. I've been looking for things around here to believe in. And I believe this now, which is the first thing that I had to learn to believe in was myself. I had to learn to believe in myself. I had to learn to believe in me before I could get to believing anything else in this world, whether it is something that was forced on me as a child when I was 5 years old and being shoved in a horse tank for my baptism at a Baptist church, being forced at 5 years old to go under the water, to like this, and the water was cold. And I remember that nobody told me to hold my breath. Nobody told me to hold my breath because I was 5 years old. I grew up in the cities. I didn't know how to swim. So I was pushed under the water in the name of God. And coincidentally, I breathed in because the water was cold. It was the only, for me looking back now, it was one of the only real experiences was the cold water. Cold water. And so I breathed in. And I started to drown. I started to drown. My lungs were filling up with water and I couldn't breathe. And I was being held under the water by a man of God. Pushed me under the water and I started drowning. And it was done in the name of love. So, from a very early age, I couldn't believe what was happening to me. I couldn't believe that somebody else pushed their belief on me and made me doubt, that made me doubt myself, starting at the age of 5 years old. And before that, the situations that led to my doubt in terms of child abuse, in terms of alcohol-related child abuse, don't underestimate how much I'm going to stress alcohol because it's the root of all evil, in my opinion, period. It's the reason why so many people doubt themselves because they can't get to a point where they can just cry because it's so much easier to just pick up a bottle and drink it. And that's part of the problem. And that goes in hand with that horse tank. It goes in hand with a religion that values wine as a representation of the blood of Christ. You know, Jesus turned water into wine. And then when he died, they pierced his side with a weapon of war, and water came out of his body. He transmutated the water to wine back into water. That's important for me to recognize that, because it tells me that if I got to drink alcohol to be a part of your religion, I don't want to drink. I don't want to be a part of your religion. And it was a huge issue for me. It was a huge issue for me to come to some of these realizations about what is the nature of faith? What is the nature of believing something, finding anything to believe in? Because there's a lot of people right now that are living in fear because they got nothing tangible to hang on to. They got nothing tangible to hang on to. It's the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law when you're talking about the book. And that's part of a discussion that I continue to have and recognize. So I was baptized, forced to start drowning at a young age. And it's still happening. So where am I going with all this? Here's one of the stops. One of the stops is this, that in my talking to you, if I can get you to believe before you believe anything else, or that you're ready to believe in anything else, I'm just asking that you believe in yourself. Because if you believe in yourself and you accept that you are a fragile, emotional, scared individual, just by your very nature of being born into this world, then that's a starting point. That's a starting point. And now, what is it? Well, I believe in myself. I believe in myself, and as a result, I see the value in other belief systems, including Christianity, which is something that I have been very hesitant to believe. Very hesitant to believe, because it was something that was forced on me. I had to come to that realization myself. I value traditional ways, and I value Christian ways, and if given the chance to sit and pray with any other religion in this world, I would sit and do it, because it's not whether you understand the language that is being prayed in, it's what's behind the language. What's the feeling that this makes you feel? You know, when I hear prayer, when I hear people praying, when I hear and see people going through the motion of stopping and acknowledging the sun, or acknowledging a symbol, a cross. You know, maybe it was a cross in one way, but I look at symbols now and I see the center of the medicine wheel crosses. That's all I see. And the only thing that's missing in a lot of the crosses is the circle. Coming back to the beginning. Coming back to the beginning. And that is the definition of revolution. We're in the midst of spiritual revolution. And the revolution is something that is designed to empower us. Not as Indian or non-Indian, but as spirits, as spirits. And the spirit of humanity and the spirit of humanism. That's the issue. That's the issue for me right now. And that's why I'm talking to myself. And I'm hoping, and continue to hope and pray, that as more of these revelations, and that's what it is in my estimation, that in fighting my war of Christ and Antichrist, that I've hit revelation. And the revelation is that you have to believe in yourself first. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard, because this world is very intense. And there's a lot of things that pull us in a lot of different directions. Video games, news, tragedies, wars, you know, all of that. And it's taken us away. It's taken us away from believing in ourselves. So I'm going to keep talking. And they haven't come to take me away yet. And thanks for listening.